In my program, I used the button class to navigate between draw scenes. To create the buttons, I used a button object type and created a button constructor function that takes on a configured object. So now that I have a constructor, I can create new button instances and assign the individual values. Here I have 6 button instances. I also need to set the behavior of the button using the draw method to create a prototype function for the buttons to follow. Once that is defined, I need to call each button in the draw function using conditionals. It allows for only calling a button if it belongs in a particular scene. For instance, if the current scene is 1, it only draws 2, 3, and 4, not 1. It only draws 1 if the current scene is 0. I used a configured object type for the kangaroo character. I created 2 different functions because I wanted to change the prototype behavior based on what scene it was in. For the first level, the kangaroo character was constrained, so that created its own prototype for its behavior to follow. Only the character for level 2, the kangaroo, only had to check for the keys, so it's got its own prototype there. In order for it to check for the keys, I had to create a function for the keys, and it became its own prototype. Kangaroo and Kangaroo 1 had new instances of the kangaroo object type, and the keys were pushed to create the new keys. To navigate using the buttons, once I had created them and called them, I had to create a prototype to make sure to check that the mouse was inside the button. So here's the prototype for that, which is then controlled by the mouse clicked function that calls each handle mouse click depending on what scene is being displayed. I used an array in scene 7 for the levels, created the X and the Y positions for all of the leaves, and then created a function for the positions to be the parameters that puts X and Y at positions.x, positions.y. Each draw scene is its own function where you set the current scene to the corresponding scene with the display of what will be shown on that screen. And then in the draw function, use conditionals to draw and call the scenes and the buttons based on what current scene it is, or if it was based on where the current mouse and mouse Y positions are to change levels. And I also use the conditionals to be able to keep a score.